Ange Postecoglou has faced tough criticism this season at Tottenham Hotspur, but one thing that many of his critics do say is that he has been backed in the transfer window, being able to spend hundreds of millions of pounds on top talent to improve this Tottenham side. So today on the Sunday Talk Spurs YouTube channel, we're going to be ranking how good or bad some of his signings have been this season. But before we go any further, if you are new to the channel, then leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree with my tier list? So yeah, we're breaking the tier list out again and ranking all 19 of Ange Postecoglou's signings at Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, he's made 19 signings in 2 years to try and improve us, and he pretty much hasn't been able to, has he? Some of the players have thrived, some of them have not been able to, but if you look at the screen right now, this is the tier list in all its glory. We have categories that are elite, good, okay, awful, and the jury is out. Basically, I've not seen enough of them, either under Ange or on loan, to really make a judgment. And there are all the 19 players on the screen who, you know, looking at them right now, I feel like I know where they're going to rank in the tier list. So we might as well start with some of the first players, and a lot of these are jury out, and that would be Alejo, Veliz, Ashley Phillips, and probably Yang as well. Because let's put it this way, I'll go for each of them individually. Ashley Phillips joined Ange during his first season from Blackburn Rovers, and he went on loan to Plymouth, and this season he's been at Stoke. And I actually watched him quite recently for Stoke against Leeds United, and he wasn't all that good. He was okay, but I think he's been good for the youth teams when he's played there last season, but I mean, it's hard to really judge, especially in a Stoke team that aren't all that good. So again, jury out on that one. Alejo Veliz, he had a few minutes during Ange's first season, but again, really hard to sort of judge whether or not he is good or not. I feel like he will get moved on this summer though. And then finally Yang, who I actually think has got a lot of potential. I think he could be quite good, but again, hasn't played under Ange, has he? He joined the club in January this year, and after signing him in the summer, but, you know, went on loan back to Gangwon FC, came back, and has since, you know, been on loan at QPR in the Championship. But again, we haven't been able to see a lot of him. But yeah, I'd say those are quite easy and simple for the jury out category. I think that makes pretty much sense. Then I'm going to pick Manor Solomon. Now, Manor Solomon's a tricky one because, again, signed during Ange's first season on a free. You know, was at Fulham, and, you know, we signed him from Shakhtar Donetsk in a weird deal. But it's just one of those ones where it's hard to judge because I think, you know, in those early parts of last season, he looked quite good. I remember against Burnley when we beat them like 5-2 or something. He was like pretty good, and everyone was saying he could be in our strongest front line with Brennan Johnson and also Son at the top of the pitch. But, you know, he had that big injury, and then since then he's gone on loan to Leeds and looked all right. I could see us selling him to Leeds. I think that makes a lot of sense to sell him to Leeds. So I guess based on all that, I'd put him in okay. I don't think he's been awful. I wouldn't say he's been awful at all. I feel like he's got, you know, it's just, you know, he's not the answer for Tottenham, is he? He's not going to really fulfil the needs that we need as a winger, and we're looking for new wingers in the summer anyway. So, moving on then, and I'll go for Micky van de Ven. Now, Micky van de Ven, I'd say he's been one of Ange Postecoglou's better signings. Signed him during his first season, was the centre-back that we desperately needed, left-footed who could play on the left-hand side. The only problem with Micky van de Ven is he's very injury-prone. I've done a video exploring that. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it after this. Basically saying that he's been, I think he has been elite. I would like to put him in the elite category, but his injuries are hampering him. He's had 2 major injuries to his hamstring in 2 seasons at Spurs. And when that happens, the wheels come off at Tottenham. So we've had to now manage his minutes this season to really get the most out of him. So where does that mean I'll put him? Because on his day, I think he is elite. I think he is amazing. But because of his injuries, maybe I have to put him in good. Maybe I'll put him in good. I'll put him in good. Because I'm just very torn on that as a thing. Because, you know, I always say it, I've said it about the likes of Reece James. Your best ability is availability. And we've got to manage him now to try and improve him. Maybe that is getting rid of Ange. And actually, Ange Postecoglou, the system doesn't suit Micky van der Ven. You know, we're asking too much of his body and his sprint speed. So, you know, maybe I would put him up to elite. But again, I feel like we haven't not seen enough of him to really put him on that top tier category. Then we have Brennan Johnson. Now, Brennan Johnson, he really does divide opinion because I think this season he's been quite good when it comes to goal scoring, but he has been criticised for his overall play at Spurs. You know, can he take on a defender? Can he dribble? Can he shoot from distance? All this sort of stuff. If it's back post Brennan and you want him to do that, he's fantastic. But for the price tag as well, nearly £50 million, if it was 47.5, but that's a lot of money. And you've got to look at all the other wingers in the Premier League and midfielders who can play a similar role. Is there a better deal to be had? You know, last season he was not too amazing. This year he's been better, but we've been in a worse position. Brennan Johnson, I think I'd have to put him in okay. Because, again, maybe he's not the perfect winger for Ange Postecoglou. A lot of these players, I think, maybe could have been signed under other managers and thrived. But I think he's been okay. I think I can only put him in okay for the time being. Now, the next two players, now this is a very strange situation because technically Dejan Kulusevski and Pedro Porro were Ange signings because that's when they became official. That's what, according to Transfermarkt, they were signed by him in that summer of his first year. But they obviously arrived under previous managers, Antonio Conte. But if I'm judging their time under Ange, then I'd put Dejan Kulusevski in the elite category. I think under Ange, he has gone to the next level. Ange has played him on the wing, but also in the midfield, which has been really, really good. But I feel like he'll thrive under a better manager. I feel like he's not a winger. I feel like he can be a better midfielder, but then that throws James Maddison's future up in the air. Like, where does James Maddison then play on this side? I think Dejan Kulusevski, recently he's come back from injury. Hopefully he can find that form that we know he could and had in the beginning of the season. Many people would actually tout him to be in the team of the season early doors, but Tottenham's form has fallen out window. But hopefully his form can improve and he can show he can be an elite player under Ange Postecoglou. As for Pedro Porro, now this is really interesting. Thrived under Ange in that first season as a inverted fullback. His attacking numbers were amazing. His crossing was incredible. His defending was questioned, but this season his defending and his attacking has been questioned. Has been frozen out the side some weeks. Destiny Udogie has been injured, so it meant that Jed Spence played left back, but Jed Spence has shown his versatility. He can play on both sides. For Pedro Porro, I feel like I've got to put him in that okay category. I feel like he hasn't really been able to feel that full potential, and maybe this system doesn't suit him. Maybe he suits a three at the back because he was originally signed as a wing back for Antonio Conte. So that's what's a really tricky one. The next two players, I didn't expect them to hit the ground running like they have. I feel like they've been thrown in the deep end this season. But for Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray, I'll go with Lucas Bergvall first. He's been great. I put him in good. Maybe I have to put him in elite. I think I'll put him in elite because I feel like he's been so good when, at the beginning of the season, I thought this player has potential, but he looks really raw. But as the season's gone on, he's become a starter. He's become quite important in that 8 role, breaking up the play in midfield, showing legs, defending, attacking, box to box, pressing like there's no tomorrow. Again, he has shown, errors in his game, mistakes, but he's young, he's 18, he's going to do that. But I think he's been absolutely phenomenal, really, really good. I feel like I have to put him in elite because I feel like I've been that impressed with him. With Archie Gray, I would put him in the elite category, but I'm only going to put him in the good category, and this is why. Because when we signed him, when he was at Leeds last year, we knew he could play 6 and he could play right back. We've only seen him in the 6, I think, once. And that was against Everton, I believe, and we lost 3-2, which, was an unfair game, in my opinion. But I think he played centre-back that game. But then, alluding to that, he's played left-back, right-back, centre-back. We haven't seen him thrive in his best position. I think he's been good, but I think he's been fed to the Sharks this season. I really do feel sorry for him. He's one of the players I feel really, really sorry for. And considering that his age, I think he showed leadership. I think he showed maturity. He can go all the way in football. But, yeah, I feel like he's been, as I say, fed to the Sharks and really undervalued at Spurs. But I've been impressed by him in the spells we've seen him in. Then we have Radu Dragusin. Now, I feel like all these players are the same. Like, Radu Dragusin's not an Ange Postecoglou signing. If you want him to play a high line, he's not the player for you. We beat Bayern Munich to his signature last January, not this January, last. And since then, I've just looked at it and gone, this is just not the right fit. If Dragusin was at Nottingham Forest or West Ham or, anyone who sits a little bit deeper, even like Newcastle maybe, I don't know. Like, he's not the quickest, but what he's good at is he's strong. He's, good at passing. He's a good distributor. He can ping the ball like he did at Genoa. But for Ange, we've not been able to see that because, again, he came in under dramatic circumstances, injured, when injuries to this side, and then eventually he's got an injury as well. I'd put him in okay because I think in certain games he's been great, in certain games he's been awful, but I don't think that's his fault. I think it's the system's fault. So I do really, really feel sorry for him in that regard. Then we have Wilson Odobert. Now, Wilson Odobert, I think he's been good. A big fee, 30 million from Burnley, from a player who, was okay in Burnley's Premier League season, last season. But, he's been injured again, so we haven't seen too much of him. But what I have seen of him, I've been really, really impressed. I think he's one of the most direct wingers we have at the football club. He actually wants to go at a player. And in the Europa League against AZ Alkmaar, I thought it was fantastic. I think we're actually a better team when Wilson Odobert is on the wing. I really am hopeful he could be a top talent. But again, it's really tricky to know, with the future of Ange Postecoglou, how this player's going to thrive at his age. But yeah, I'm quite happy with him. I think he's quite good. Then we have a problem player. Now, James Maddison, I thought when we made that signing, £40 million, well, probably about 30 because Harry Winks went the other way. I thought, here we go, we're getting the creator, the number 10 we've always wanted since Christian Eriksen left the football club. He became one of the senior leadership team, one of the captains, alongside Son and Romero. But we haven't, Ange Postecoglou loves subbing him off. He's been hot and cold. He got injured last year and it's not really been the same since. He really wanted to go to Euro 2024 for England but didn't get the call up. So it's really hard to judge. I think you'd have to put Maddison in the okay category. I feel like we haven't seen enough games in Ange Postecoglou's team to really go, that's the guy who's going to be the creator. Dejan Kulusevski's been that, but James Maddison, I'm not so sure he has really fulfilled that potential. Then we have Dominic Solanke. Now, I've argued this recently. I thought Dominic Solanke was going to be the perfect striker for Ange Postecoglou. I did a lot of videos. I think a lot of, James Alcott, Ben Bowman, loads of creators said how perfect Solanke would be for Ange's system. He's a pressing striker. He, goes on the goalkeeper. He goes on the defenders. He really, causes high turnovers and that. But, he has been injured, which you could argue is Ange's fault because of the system he plays. But two, I don't think we give him enough service. I'm a big defender of Dominic Solanke. I personally think he's great. I think when he's been good, he's been amazing. Like, the goal he scored against Aston Villa where he chipped the keeper was incredible. I think he's been a vital part to this team when he has played. But there's been some games where he's coasted through and he's been asked to drop deep and not really been on the end of stuff. And the way we score goals is really weird because it's sort of like one of the wingers gets to the byline, pings it across, and it goes to the other winger and they tap it in. Where's Dominic Solanke in all this? I don't think he's being serviced. I'd have to put Dominic Solanke... I'll put him in okay because I feel like he's not really, been the be-all and end-all we all wanted. I think he can be under a better manager, but not under Ange Postecoglou whatsoever. Then, now this one is one of the easiest. Timo Werner. Awful. So awful because Ange signed him twice. On loan as well. He signed him last January. Not January just gone, last January on loan. Until the end of the season. Then we decided to make it permanent on loan again. And we're not going to trigger the clause this summer. I think there's reports saying that already. But Why? He's had one good moment in the Spurs shirt, and that was against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, but in general did not mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But no, he's just absolutely woeful. What was the point of Timo Werner and absolutely robbing some actual good wingers of game time? I don't understand it whatsoever. But yeah, less said about that, the better. Then we have Vicario. I'd put Vicario in good. You know, I'll be honest, Vicario is probably... Lots of people are on the fence about him at the moment because I think when we signed him, I was really unsure whether he was going to be the answer. Ange Postecoglou wanted a ball-playing goalkeeper who was a good shot stopper. Early doors, he showed that. Was fantastic last year. Really had a good season. This year, he got a massive injury. And then since coming back, has been very hot and cold. Has kept us in games at moments. Has made some key saves. But most recently, he's made a lot of errors. A lot of bad shot stopping and stuff like that. So I've not been too impressed with him recently. But overall, I think he's been good. And I think he'll be good under any manager. Kinský, again, feel sorry for him because I feel like we've signed him 6 months too early. I think we would have signed him this summer. But because of the goalkeeping debacle, as I say, the injury to Vicario and Forster that happened, remember we signed him earlier. Had an amazing debut against Liverpool. Showed a really good passing range, good shot stopping. But again, made a few mistakes I think in the North London derby. But I've been all right with him. I'd put him in okay. I think, you know, pretty happy with that. Then we have Kevin Danso. Now, Kevin Danso, I think he's been good. Considering the situation, again, he's come into. Was going to be signing for Wolves, but ended up coming to us. Has been a good option, you know, came in, sort of held the fort until we got the injured Romero and Micky van der Ven back. But I think he looks good. He's quick, he's pacey, he's strong. He's got an eye for a pass to sort of break the lines. I think going into next season, I feel like he's going to be a good option for your third, fourth choice centre-back. Better than chucking Archie Gray there where you don't really need to. I'm quite happy with Kevin Danso. And finally, now this is a really, really tricky one. Mathys Tel. Now, this whole situation around Mathys Tel, I still can't get my head around that. We signed him, or we wanted to sign him, and he didn't want to come. And we thought, oh, here we go. He's going to go to one of the other clubs he's been linked to, which was like United, Chelsea, or Arsenal. Then, as deadline day was approaching, we ended up signing him on loan. With, I think it was an £8 million loan fee with a £60 million option to buy in the summer. Now, it looks like reports are saying that Tottenham are trying to renegotiate that and buying a keen to sell to us. And early doors, I mean, it was a YouTube short that went quite viral. I think it's had nearly 20,000 views. Basically saying that I don't think we should sign Mathys Tel on a permanent. But since then, there's been some cameos in the Europa League, in the Prem. He's played on the wing. And he's looked quite good. He's looked like one of our best players. So I'm really undecided whether we should sign Mathys Tel. I mean, I think we should if we can get the fee down. Because at the moment, I was thinking like there was when he was doing interviews and calming down the fans after the Fulham game, I was like, this guy is quite switched on for a 19-year-old. And the fact that we sort of been chucked in the deep end with this loan spell, I felt sorry for him. So I would put him in the okay category because I feel like he has showed the potential to possibly be a good player. Just depends what Tottenham are going to be in the summer because I bloody don't know what Tottenham are going to be like come the summer. But yeah, that's the tier list. In elite, we have Dejan Kulusevski and Lucas Bergvall. In good, we have Micky van der Ven, Archie Gray, Wilson Odobert, Guglielmo, Vicario and Kevin Danso. In okay, Manor Solomon, Brennan Johnson, Pedro Porro, Radu Dragusin, James Maddison, Dominic Solanke, Antonín Kinský and Mathys Tel. In awful, Timo Werner. And in Juriel, Ashley Phillips, Alejo, Veliz and Yang. That's the tier list. So you're going to have to let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree? This is based on all the signings that Ange has made since being at Tottenham. People say he hasn't been backed, but the evidence is on the screen. And has he improved some of them? I do not know. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And the next video will be me reacting to probably a loss against Liverpool at Anfield. But until then, have a good day and I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.